up, Rotogrinders? Dean here. Dean 78904. That is daily fantasy handle around the industry. It is 4:30 on a Monday. Happy MLK Day. Why are we on so early today? Well, because the basketball schedule is kind of sort of somewhat funky. A lot of games going on throughout the day. Games going on right now. Jaren Jackson in the locker room. Hope you guys didn't play him, or hopefully he's fine. We shall see how that goes down. And the slates are doing things a little bit differently today, so we wanted to accommodate both FanDuel and DK, Yahoo as well. Typical start time for DK, it's a 7 o'clock start, 5-game slate. FanDuel and Yahoo extended. They included the Milwaukee Atlanta game, which would be a lot of fun. Big old total, so that kind of changed the slate on FanDuel. We want to talk both slates. They're all slates because we have an audience. Some play FanDuel, some play DK, some play both, some play all, some play Prize Picks. So we wanted to hit on all possible angles. So that's why we're here early. Will, how's Monday treating you?
Pretty good so far. See us go today for all of you in the prop shop or not in the prop shop. It's okay. Early NBA has been interesting to say the least. And you guys know I'm always going to talk about my bad beats. I have a lot of good beats. Unfortunately, the good beats don't sell. The bad ones are the ones that
people
sell.
love a good bad beat story.
But so anyway, I've got several from today. I think I'm going to go with the most recent, which is James Harden at 12.5 first half points. For those of you that are watching the game, James Harden missed at least 5 or 6 free throws. I think he shot 2 for 7 or 2 for 8, 3 for 9, something crazy from the line. And his first half point prop was 12.5. Dean, how many do you think he finished out the first half with?
I know he's got 12 for the entire game, and they're in the middle of the third quarter.
Well,
but I
he finished with 12. Yep, 12 is the answer. So that was bad beat, probably number 3 or 4 from this morning. I told you about my Gordon Hayward bad beat, who finished with 16.4 fantasy points, and I needed him at 16.6 fantasy points for the over. Jared Allen needed him over 7.5. He finished with 6 points and only shot the ball, I think, 2 times. I mean, just interesting bad beats. But and then ironically, what would have been a spectacular beat took Dennis Schroeder under first half fantasy points, paired that with LaMelo under first half fantasy points. Well, LaMelo doesn't play. Dennis Schroeder goes over, so I get a refund, which is better than a loss. But I want the bread or the cheese, the duckies, the chickens. I want that in my pocket. And
he was listed available to play. They almost should have gave it to you.
It's like, yeah, he's available. He was on the sideline jumping around. Like, he was on the court. Give me my prop. At any rate, just bad beats today. But guess what? As I told them in the chat, they said, man, our teeth got kicked in this morning. I said, here's something about kicked in teeth. You go to the dentist, they fixed it, and it's like they never got kicked in. Moral of the story, winning cures all, and that's what we're here to help you people do today. Win some money.
What if I don't have any money to go to the dentist? That's a problem. And I'm not Canadian like TJ, so I got to pay for it out of pocket.
Come to Canada.
Well, you better you better get you an insurance plan and a very good one. Get you some dental assistance.
Practice bankroll management. That's also the moral of the story too. That's important stuff as well. And you, of course, are tilting. Where are you tilting at? It's the prop shop. Tell the people about the prop shop. Some people at this point, I mean, I assume people know, but there's like 3 people that are watching. Like, what are they talking about? What's this prop shop? How do I hang out with Will and all his friends and tilt our faces off?
Yeah, you just hop on in the prop shop. It's a free Discord channel. It's all things props, sports books, pretty much any prop fantasy sports site there is, we cover it. Monkey Knife Fight, Prize Picks, Thrive, Underdog. There's some other ones out there that I won't mention just because I don't think we have any setup with those guys. But if it's out there, we're going to cover it. And then the thing about it is some of the sites are a little bit closer to sports books, right? Like points, rebounds, assist type sites, stuff like that. And then, you've got Prize Picks and Monkey Knife Fight where you can get fantasy point props and stuff. So that's what I'm saying. It's a good contrast of, things that may fit something you've been doing before, and then some things that are a little bit closer to the sports book. And then for people that have the sports book option, they're all in there too. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just the fantasy side. We're covering everything. And, it's a real fun place. The joint sweat is what we call it, because, I'm not trying to win 100,000 and you get 20,000. We're all just trying to make sure, we put a little money in our pocket. So that's the beauty of the prop shop. And, that's not to take anything away from traditional DFS, because I think we all want to win $1 million at some point. That's still on my bucket list, by the way. I've done everything. I've accomplished all my DFS goals outside of winning $1 million. And I haven't been as enthusiastic about winning it, clearly, because I'm just so much invested in the prop game. But I will sneak in a couple contests or two to see if I can crank one out and ride gentle into that good night for all of you literature heads out there.
Join Chiefs Prop Shop. It's in our Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. There are some premium channels. There are some non-premium channels. For whatever reason, Chief Man of the People, he made this for everybody. It's for everybody. You don't have to be a premium member. Go ahead and jump in there and hang out. And right below that there's Blender's premium channel. Right below Blender's premium channel is the live stream chat channel. That's where YouTube. What up, YouTube? Do hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on the notification so y'all know we're going live. You would know that we're live early today. If you get that notification, turn on that bell. That's where you guys participate in the show. We've been giving out 1 week free of RG Premium, all the sports, just for hanging out with us in Discord and participating. Producer extraordinaire Devin is just picking somebody at random. Oh, we got Will tilting about something live. Will, is this worth asking? We'll just we'll power run through. So go ahead. Okay, Will, you're gonna be okay.
No, I'm not going to hijack this show with a bad beat. Continue, please.
All right. Well, yeah, you fit the quota on bad beats today. Enough of the bad beats. So go ahead and check out the live stream chat. Ask questions throughout the show. Devin's going to compile those. We'll knock them out end of the show. Cash, tournaments, DK, FanDuel, all those things that matter. Add them in the question. It makes it easier for us to knock it out. And again, plenty of time to answer questions. Participate. One random person will get themselves 1 week free of RG Premium. Have at it. TJ, you've been on the positive side of variance, because I saw, at least the contest I saw, you tweeted it out. Apparently you had yourself a nice little weekend. How are things in your world? Was that football or basketball? I think it was football, wasn't it?
That was football. Yeah, I've had a bit of a cold streak for basketball lately, but I think it was the Buffalo New England showdown slate. I wasn't even planning on playing it, but I got a message to do the expert survey for that. So I decided to do the expert survey and just basically filled in what I put in there and managed to, with my 6 or 7 entries, managed to tie for first place with 200 of my best friends on FanDuel.
Awesome. Yeah. It's funny, winning $1 million. I did technically win a millionaire maker on FanDuel. I didn't win $1 million, but I did win one. nobody beat me, but there's an asterisk.
How much did you get? $50, $2,000,
no,
$5,000?
It was a couple thousand. I don't know what the exact number was, but
no, listen, yeah. I've seen some that are 800. I'm
it wasn't that.
Okay, so one time I think when I was really heavy into single game multi-entry stuff on FanDuel, I really probably should get back into that, because I really did make a lot of money. But the single game stuff on FanDuel for NBA, I'll never forget coming in first place and still losing money. never forget it. I was like, I'm like, if I came in first, I should at least still be profitable here. But I think I had 150 in there, and gosh, I think it might've been, 200 something the first or something like that. And maybe I just had a bad build that day and didn't get enough through. But I'm telling you, I think it was probably about, maybe 1,000 to go all in on it. I think it was maybe a $9 contest or something. And I ended up losing money, but still coming in first. And I'm like, who cares about first if I can't be profitable? That sucks.
Yeah, I that's me on Yahoo once, because one person mass entered it and they had a dupe lineup 121 times.
Oh, so they felt great.
Yeah, they won 3,000, whatever it was, and it was 2,000.
Oh,
I think
man.
I won 3,000. But everything else was ruined because that one person. And of course, nobody cares. Let's talk about basketball. Nobody cares about this stuff. But
this is good. Come on, D. We've got 5 games today.
Well, we got 6 we're playing on FanDuel, but yeah.
This is a good segue into the show. All bad beats are gone. All bets are off. The good stuff is coming in now. The juju's going. The mojo's here. Let's get it.
I wish this Milwaukee Atlanta game was on all the sites, because this is going to be a lot of fun to watch for sure. 233 is the total. Milwaukee is a 6-point favorite. at Atlanta. Again, this is only on FanDuel. The FanDuel slate starts at 6 o'clock. The DK slate and the Yahoo slate, they start at 7 o'clock. All right. So as far as Milwaukee, same deal. As far as Drew Holiday being out, he's still out. Otherwise, they're fully healthy. Whatever. Brook Lopez has been out forever. Atlanta is without Bogdan Bogdanovic and Clint Capella. We've seen Deng starting. We've seen, Okongwu be a better play than Deng. I'll throw it to you, TJ. FanDuel specific, obviously, again, you got the big spend in Giannis, the big spend in Trae Young on the other side. This feels like this game should be a lot of fun to watch. Big number as far as 233 as far as the total. Let's start with the Milwaukee side. How much are you prioritizing Giannis on this slate? With a guy like LeBron is also lurking. Jimmy Butler's coming. Bam Adebayo presumably coming back there. We're expecting to see CJ McCollum come back tonight for Portland. But the studs among studs is Giannis and LeBron. Do you have Giannis ahead of LeBron right now? Obviously, I know a lot of construction's a thing too. But talking about the Bucks, I presume you're going to start with Giannis.
Yeah, as of right now, I have Giannis a little bit ahead of LeBron, not by a lot, but by a little bit. What makes it a little bit tougher is Bobby Portis is probably going to be the chalk of the night again on FanDuel because they just refuse to raise his price. He's still only 6'3" on FanDuel, power forward and center eligible. It hasn't worked out every night with Bobby Portis chalk night, but it's been working out the majority of the time. And some of the times he smashes that for not just 5x, but 7, 8x. So that's what narrows the gap between Giannis and LeBron a little bit for me is, do I want to be playing Portis and Giannis together? Obviously, if I'm playing lots of lineups, I'm going to be getting to a ton of both. Because I'm playing NFL tonight, I've been playing NHL during the day today. I think I'm only planning on playing one lineup. So I'm still torn between Giannis and LeBron, but absolutely. They're both great options. I have Giannis a little bit ahead. It just makes it tougher because I'm also planning on playing Portis.
Taking a peek what we have as far as our ownership on, for Milwaukee, we're expecting, like you said, Bobby Portis, 6.3K. I think we've seen him as low as 6K or so. We know how those minutes are even more solidified in the absence of Cousins. We're projecting 32 minutes there, 51% ownership, just a massive number. Giannis is not, hiding on anybody either, 35%, working our way down. Middleton at 26%, and like the peripheral pieces, DiVincenzo and Allen and Connaughton, 3% for Connaughton, and then not so much for Allen either, 6%, and DiVincenzo at 13%. You got anything else as far as the other pieces on Milwaukee? Like, of course, Middleton's in play too. He's always kind of one of those guys I just sort of like land on. I rarely kind of seek him out. It's like, oh, okay, Middleton completes this lineup. He's not going to ruin it. I guess he's fine. I'm not going to blow the whole thing up. Is that kind of where you see it as well too?
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. He's not somebody I'm Xing out of my player pool if I'm playing a lot of lineups, but playing one, I'm not going to be getting to him tonight.
Will, what do you have as far as the Bucks? And again, feel free if you have anything as far as a prize picks perspective, if you have anything as far as the Milwaukee side, the Atlanta side, as we're going through, you can give out some of your favorite prize picks winners. And by the way, if you've not signed up just yet for prize picks, why not? And use our promo code. Use the promo code Grinders, GRINDERS, with your very first deposit. You get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And Will, also sneak in. I know you picked out a couple winners for the people as well, and Devin's going to go ahead and show it on the screen. There's a couple of plays you like tonight on prize picks, and then talking about the Bucks. Is Will with us? Is Will on mute?
Yeah, I had to unmute myself. I had to unmute myself. I know.
Will's a great guy. Will's a great guy. He knows I'm new. He knows I probably have some nerves. He's just trying to help me relax into it, knowing that if I forget to mute later, I won't feel as bad now because he's already done it.
Exactly. There you go. Thanks for covering for me, TJ.
He's done several podcasts. You got your own Marvel podcast. This is not your first rodeo. You've talked plenty.
Hey, I'm trying to keep the bar low so that I can keep surpassing it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Under promise, over deliver. That's what Magic Johnson says. I agree, by the way. At any rate, I do still like Giannis today. As long as Drew Holiday's out, I'm probably just going to be fully invested in Giannis because I don't think the sites are going to price him up enough. Like, I don't see FanDuel getting a 12K unless he absolutely drops like a 90 burger on us. So in that regard, especially when I'm expecting this game to be fairly competitive, I really like Giannis here. I agree with TJ. In terms of Bobby Portis at 6,300, we've got to at least get him to 7K. Like, let's make it interesting.
Yeah.
We've got to at least get him to 7K. to make us think a little bit. And so as a result, we're going to see, overinflated Bobby Portis. Is the price worth it to play him? Yeah. But you know me, the tournament player in me says just go ahead and hit that X button. And it's not like I don't think Bobby Portis is a good play at 6,300, but he's still like he could still just go out there and put up 32. And I can absolutely take down a GPP with him hitting 32. Our projections have him a touch over 35. So in that regard, I'm willing to kind of hit the X button because I think there's some other guys. If I had to take a prop from this game straight up, it probably would be Trae Young over 2.5 3-pointers. I mean, Milwaukee, I keep saying this, man, Milwaukee gives up the 3-point shot. It's insane, really. I think the last I checked, they were giving up about, in terms of attempts, not makes, about 41 a game. And in fact, let me see, I can probably pull it up really quickly. I usually keep that one in front of me. And it is, 41.7, wasn't too far off. They're giving up 41.7 attempts per game. I think Trae Young can put 3 in the bucket. Those would be my favorite. And then Devin, I don't know if you have my other ones up, but I'm just going to go ahead and talk about those now. One of my favorite props from the day is actually Jimmy Butler over 42 fantasy points. And maybe we can parlay that into the Miami game. I know it's at 7:30 and not 7, but I do really like Jimmy Butler today. Going against Toronto should be a pretty good pace. Miami is still not completely healthy, right? And so if he's going to come in and play, his normal allotment of minutes, I like him to be able to put together a complete performance. I think 42 fantasy points is a touch low. I don't think he's going to knock it out of the park and drop a 60 burger tonight, but I do think he could get to 50. I expect him to get to around 48 in my particular thoughts. And we've got him projected at 43. So either way, we're slightly above the Prize Picks projection. And then for those of you that have been following me, I kind of keep staple props in my back pocket so I can continue to churn some profit. And one of those is Cole Anthony. For whatever reason, Cole Anthony just doesn't get it done in the first half a lot of times. And that's shout out to my boy Nards. He's got this beautiful sheet that we can use. And I've almost memorized my top plays. But Cole Anthony very rarely passes 17 fantasy points or 17.5 in the first half. So we've got a real good shot here. Last 5 games, 15.9, 12.9, 6.2, 16.1, 16.8. I know it's close, but very rarely does he get past that 17.5 number. So I'm taking the under on that one. That's what I love. I know they're playing Portland, and I know it's going to be an up and down game, but I'm just going to bank on the historical data for the season here and keep hammering that one.
Let's talk about the Atlanta side. I think Atlanta's more tournament stuff as opposed to cash stuff. It's fun to run back Trae with Giannis. Theoretically, you could probably get 140 points if things crack your way. That's obviously the ceiling. We also live in the world of a salary cap here, TJ. How much are you prioritizing somebody like Trae Young as far as dollar for dollar? We're looking at DeAndre Hunter probably being the best play in Atlanta. The ownership reflects that as well. 4.4K, we're projecting around 23, 24 fantasy points and 25% ownership respectively. Gallinari is another potential cheapie as well, Okongwu, but he is center only. There's a priority to that. And he's got, there's fragility to his minutes as well. Milwaukee's definitely a team where you can sometimes go smaller. Deng can grab those minutes at the 5. And I think John Collins is a really interesting tournament play. We can see him thriving in the 5. And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets some run here against Milwaukee, who, you can go smaller there. The Hawks, what do you have for me here, TJ?
So I have to think, I was thinking this through as Chief was talking, when he was talking about Portis and how he's a great play, but with that ownership, it makes it tough. And he's absolutely right. And looking at a guy that, ownership aside, right now, as it stands, he's probably the best point per dollar play on the slate, objectively. But he's also coming in at 45% plus ownership. And so if I am going to be playing Bobby Portis and I'm playing Giannis tonight, I'm probably going to be playing a bunch of these Atlanta guys with them. I'm probably going all or nothing with this game, because if Portis doesn't get there, if Giannis doesn't get there, one of the reasons for that is probably going to be because of a blowout or something else. And so if I am playing Portis and I am playing Giannis and I'm eating the chalk there, I'm probably going to want to run it back either just with Trae Young because he's got low ownership, or throw it in a full game stack, because you got expensive pieces with Young and Giannis, but you got these cheapies like Hunter at 4,400, Gallinari at 4,400. If you want to take a pivot off of the chalky JaVale McGee, you can go Kongwu at 4,300. If you're playing 150, take a stab at Dieng in one or two lineups. And so this game does scream fade or game stack.
By the way, I did run Put Up Lineup HQ tool. I ran on FanDuel specifically point per dollar plays, and Portis is on the podium. He's third. Bronze medal for him as far as the best play. You mentioned JaVale McGee, the second best play, point per dollar, center, you understand all that stuff. And number one is actually big body Kelvin Johnson. He's got a discount around the industry, 4.9K on FanDuel. Weird thing, it's not a great slate as far as value, even worse, like on DK, we'll talk about it. There's some rough plays if you want to spend up. You rarely see this, but Donovan Mitchell, like a guy at this price, but the price on FanDuel is kind of goofy there, 8.2K against the Lakers. We don't see a guy at 8.2K as the fourth best point per dollar play. That's just sort of something we're looking at. We'll talk about that soon enough. As far as the Hawks, Bill, are you in that thought process? Either all in or all out? And if you're all in, who are your favorite run backs on the Atlanta side?
Absolutely, Trae Young. He's definitely going to be on the list. I'm all about some cheap Hawks from time to time when we get the right pieces out. So we know Cam Reddish is out, right? And with him being gone, I feel like Kevin Huerter at some point, he's going to pop again, right? He's going to have one of these 20-point games. And so I'm with TJ. If we're starting to get a few bucks, like if I was going to play Giannis and Portis, I'd at least probably want one piece from this game. I think John Collins would be on the outside looking in for me. I don't think it will be Collins. But one of DeAndre Hunter, or Kevin Huerter, and Trae Young. So Trae Young and one of these two, I think, would kind of be where I'd like to plant my flag. It looks like right now DeAndre Hunter is going to play a few more minutes than Huerter, just a tad. And so for the cheaper price and a similar projection, I definitely think I'd prefer Hunter. But once again, you know how I feel about this ownership. We've got Hunter at 26, and that's not like anything that's going to kill me. But Huerter sitting here, pretty much a percent ownership. I think, we could absolutely get involved. And let me make sure I got that updated because I don't want to be wrong. I could be off on that. Looks like about the same. So yeah, I like Huerter for the difference in the multi-positional flexibility. Secretly, Danilo Gallinari might have a good night tonight. Like secretly.
I think Collins is an amazing tournament play if he's 2% owned. And that's kind of where we have him at right now. That seems too low. And I understand why he's on the outside looking in, like you said, but I'm talking tournament stuff. I'm talking like shooting for first. And we've seen him have ceiling games where he can just destroy a 7.4K price. You've also seen him have some rough games too. He's kind of up and down, but Ricky Bobby style, right? We're going for first.
Listen, if they let him sit in the corner and shoot threes all night, he might drop 25 real points on this team.
We shall move on. Anything else here, TJ, or moving on?
No, I agree with everything both of you guys are saying. Collins, I was thinking, I don't love him for a single lineup, but looking at 1.6% projected ownership, if I'm MMEing tonight, that's a number I definitely want to get at least probably 5x over the field on. Same thing with Gallinari. If I'm not playing Hunter, I probably like Gallinari. I want to play at least one of the two of these guys in the lineup. Looking at just lineup HQ now, but you put in Meansy's core plays, you add in Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter, Giannis, and Portis, you got yourself a nice looking game stack with just find some ways to differentiate in there, and you got a nice looking build.
All right, Portland and Orlando, 218 is the total. Portland is a 3-point favorite. Of course, Portland is getting healthier. They have Norman Powell, who should be expected to be available. They have CJ McCollum expected to be available. CJ's not played in like a month and a half or so with that lung issue. The sites don't care. They gave him the standard asking price. It's traditionally with like Lillard out and other guys out, like you'd be enthused, but I don't think people are going to be playing CJ because I would imagine I've seen nothing on it. It's hard to assume they would just throw out like 36 minutes or 35 minutes at CJ right away. We'll see. Our current projection as far as McCollum tonight, pulling it up now, getting to our Portland side, and we're projecting 34. So that's, I guess we just think he's going to be good to go until otherwise noted. But yeah, let's start there, TJ, because, we're looking at 8.5K on DK. And then, all the other peripheral pieces that we've been playing, the Anthony Simons. Now when Anthony Simons at 8K, that's an insane price. Like I just can't His usage is going to go away. More shots are going to go to CJ. More shots are going to go to Powell. And now it's just an absurd asking price. There's no way I can consider it. We've seen this before with the health and safety protocols. When like guys come back, all the guys that were elevated up, more usage. Now their prices are ridiculous. That's kind of where Simons is. And for this reason, I'm kind of spelling it out. Despite the fact it's a good matchup, there's not a lot of value here on the Portland side. You agree with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's it.
That's it. There's nobody from this team that I'm going to be playing tonight. If I, like I said, like I've been saying with a lot of these pieces, if I'm MMEing, it's a bit of a different story. On FanDuel 8,100 CJ McCollum, he'd be in my player pool at about the field at that 5% ish range, because I'm not going to be playing him in 1 or even 3 or even 5 lineups. But if I'm playing lots, maybe I want to get him in just a couple, just in case he's regular old CJ McCollum and he's ready to roll. But still, even at that price tag, like it's priced for him to have a ceiling game to pay it off. So he's not somebody I'm looking to go to.
Yeah, that is pretty much where I'm at as well. Will, feel free to say otherwise, but I like the efficiency. Just no, I'm good. I said a bunch of words that they were all useless. Like I was given the reasoning why, I suppose. If people were curious, they probably could figure it out themselves. Will, feel free to touch on Portland. Otherwise, jump over to Orlando, where we're seeing Cole Anthony on FanDuel around 13-14%. On DK, we're looking at Anthony at, I believe he's got a higher ownership than that. Yeah, 22% over there at 7.3K. Franz Wagner of the Wagners at 21%. T. Ross is, always interesting in tournaments. A guy that can put 20 real life points in the bucket. The floor can be rough as well if he's not making his shots. Orlando, of course, is without Carter. They're without Etuan Moore, but otherwise they're pretty healthy, considering where they've been throughout the season. Will, what do you have for me as far as the Magic? And again, if you have anything to add for Portland, by all means, go for it. But I'm guessing you're right there with them.
Yeah, man, this is just an interesting, unappealing spot, especially for Portland. Like, man, I almost wish CJ and Norman were out one more day. Just give us one more day, so I could play some of these guys. But I'm not going to be able to do it. In fact, from a sports book perspective, right now, I'm kind of just looking to say, okay, this might be a shot to start taking some unders on some of these guys that may be a little boosted up from where they were before. Just because CJ and Norman were out, but I can't invest in this game.
You like nothing on the Orlando side either?
No, I just can't. It's not even worth it. Like, I feel like this next game is going to be a lot better, but this one, oh God, scratch off.
TJ, Orlando?
See, I feel differently about this Orlando side. And the one thing I want to say a bit more that I glossed over on the Portland side, Nurkic on FanDuel is still playable. He's 7,500 there. That's fine.
I'm scared of Nurk with CJ back.
I am too. But like, say if we're imagining that CJ plays, instead he gets 28 minutes instead of 34. And when he's not out there, Nurkic is just assuming all the usage. Bamba's playing today, so there's a big body for him to be in there with. It's a high upside tournament play if you're playing lots of lineups, but not a single entry play. On the Orlando side, I like Cole Anthony quite a bit on both sites. Do we have news on a Mo Bamba minutes limit?
I have not seen anything on that. But yeah, he doesn't play a lot of minutes like ever. Like,
pre-injury, pre-COVID, he was, and then just looking at it now, like, I have him heavily over our projection. I love Mo Bamba as a tournament play tonight. They're going to need him in there against Nurkic. They don't have anybody. I guess they have Robin Lopez too, who they can fire in there. But Bamba was back last game. It's his second game back. I really, really like him as a high upside play in the mid 5Ks today at super low ownership. We have him projected for 20 minutes. If he gets 26, 28, 30, that's absolutely smashed.
Also, like he came up the bench last game, and he also fouled out last game. So it was a combination of that. If you're looking at the 17 minutes, why do you only play 17 minutes? Came off the bench, fouled out. It was a blowout, and I think he kind of mopped up at the end. Wait, did he? Oh, wait, am I seeing? It says 6. Oh no, I'm sorry. He had 5 fouls. My apologies. But yeah, I think he was in some foul trouble to some extent, and yeah, he was just his first game back in like 6 or 7 days, whatever it was. And he's a pretty strong fantasy appointment player too, and the price is interesting as well. So I don't mind that for tournaments.
If you're looking for a low-owned guy to get pivot off of JaVale McGee for not much more expensive with the same type, if not a bigger ceiling, Mo Bamba is your guy.
Understood.
Like Portland's not a good defensive team. Nurkic isn't going to want to get out and guard him at the 3-point line where he likes to shoot it from. He swats shots, and he's one of those guys that gets more blocks when he plays against the center that outmatches him, that he can't actually play defense against. It's not a good real life defensive game, but he puts up defensive stats in those games that defensively he has to stay in the key.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about my Miami Heat. They're at home versus the Toronto Raptors. Not a very big total, 207.5. Miami is a 3-point favorite. They're expecting, currently officially questionable. There was a report on Friday that he's coming back tonight, so we shall see. We're expecting Bam Adebayo coming back for Miami. We're also expecting Kyle Lowry to be out for personal reasons. As far as Toronto, Gary Trent currently questionable. Khem Birch has that nose, so he is out. And Scotty Barnes, we're expecting him to power on through and play tonight. All right, and Jimmy Butler. Yeah, I should have mentioned him. He's expected to play too. That price on DK for Jimmy Butler, 9.1K. I'm sorry, that's on FanDuel. My apologies. He's 8.9 on DK. I know the DK price is a little bit more appealing. Drawing some ownership at 19%. TJ, I'll throw it to you and start with the Miami Heat. No Lowry. We're presuming that Bam Adebayo comes back tonight. We shall see. Nothing official just yet, but what are you doing with Miami?
Yeah, if we don't get news about Bam yet, I think in a cash game type scenario, Jimmy Butler is definitely somebody you're trying to get in there. We were talking game stack earlier on FanDuel about this Atlanta and Milwaukee game, but in a cash or single entry type lineup, Jimmy is that lower tier mid-range guy that I think you want to go to, because if Bam plays, he's a great play. If Bam doesn't play, he's the best spend up option on the slate. So I do like Butler a lot tonight.
Yeah. How about Bam? Any interest in Bam his first game back, or it's just his same kind of deal as McCollum where it's a full price and we're probably, like we've seen it before, if Butler comes back, he gets full minutes, different person, obviously, but I think we'll get close to full minutes, but I don't know. And it was a thumb, right? It wasn't like he was dealing with a leg or something that might be more conditioning thing. And I presume he's doing some conditioning while he's kind of rearing to come back. Any interest in Bam? Who like nobody's going to play?
I don't. I'm going to wait and see. It is a nice low price tag, but one of the differences between Bam now and Bam before as well, they're not going to just stop playing Yurt 7 minutes completely. I don't think and this isn't a guy that early on in the year he was getting any minutes, and now he stepped into Bam's role and he stepped in as admirably as you could hope for him to do. And so I don't think they're going to come in and go back to giving Bam 36 minutes a game. I think it'll probably be low 30s, high 20s in his first game back.
I feel like Yurt 7 takes Dedmon's role and Dedmon becomes a DMPCD. I feel like that might happen. We have 4 minutes projected for Dedmon. As far as Yurt 7, we have 20 minutes projected for him, but obviously both are really, really hard to play now, especially that price for Yurt 7, because Bam's is going to be grabbing a bunch of minutes from, 6.8K at 20-minute projection. It's really, really hard for him to get there. Will, Miami, what do you have for me?
Jimmy Butler, man. I mean, he's my guy tonight. Jimmy's probably my favorite play on the slate, simply because I just think this game is going to be really up and down. Like, we've seen Toronto games be, really nice games for us, competitive games. I think this is one that checks the box for me. I want Jimmy when it's going to be competitive and he's going to get up to, 36, 38 minutes. And clearly I don't, I can't predict the future, but, Jimmy is also a guy that's going to stuff the stat sheet. So, whenever I can get him in a spot where the rebounds are going to be there, the assists are going to be there, the scoring is going to be there, I get really excited. This feels like a 50-point game for me. I know I said around 48, but this feels like a 50 spot for me with Jimmy at home. I really like Jimmy Butler. That's probably about the only guy I want to play for Miami, but he is my number one target on the slate for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at as well. I think Hero's, overpriced. Of course, if you're running 150, you can run him in the pool. I thought it was interesting Lowry being out, because Lowry is one of the reasons why I think Bam's assist rate went down this year. I did kind of run it on Court IQ. Bam Adebayo does get a boost in his assist rate. Last year, he was getting more assists. And one of the reasons I think why he's getting less this year is because of Lowry's presence this season. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but it is a slight boost to Bam. But again, there is some fragility in those minutes. We'll see how that goes down. Do you feel the same way, TJ, as far as Miami? It's basically Butler or bust?
Yeah, big time. If Bam was in a normal situation, I'd be looking to him without Lowry. But like a lot of these guys have already been priced up for other guys to be missing situations. So other than the guys who are returning from recent injuries, like Bam and like Butler had a while back, everyone else is priced up. So it's Butler or bust for me.
What about the Raptors?
Looking at this Raptor side, hold on just a second. I'm just switching a tab. Guys that no one I'm aggressively targeting, but guys that if they fit in my lineup, I'm okay with it. Scotty Barnes on FanDuel, 5,600. It's so cheap. He hasn't been doing that great lately. He's been battling with an injury, but it's so cheap. He's 63 on DK, so it's not as good there, but 56 on FanDuel. It's so cheap. OG Anunoby, 63 on FanDuel. It's cheap. It's a great play. If you're playing, not a great play, it's a fine play. If you're playing lots and lots of lineups, Fred VanVleet has shown he's just had the most enormous ceiling lately. He can get there at, seems like, as much as anybody, and we just don't want to play him because of that sticker shock price. And so not a guy I'm going to play in one lineup, but if I'm playing 150 or even 50, if he's only going to be 3-4% owned, yeah, I'm going to be over the field on Fred VanVleet.
It's just like a Slate thing. Like there's so much bad, cheap value. And I use the word value loosely. It's probably the wrong word, but like on DK, if you're running optimal lineups, you're getting terrible stuff. Like to get the fit in the good stuff, like the value stuff is bad. The point is like Precious Achiuwa is 3.9K center only, you know, we're projecting 20 fantasy points at, 3.9 and we're looking at 11% ownership. Like, I don't want that. That's garbage. Why would I want any of that? Like we'll talk about the OKC guys soon enough as well, which is like, it's bad projectable stuff. But again, it helps you fit in two studs. And it's the optimals right now are kind of forcing stars and scrubs, and the scrubs are terrible. It's kind of the point I'm making. I'm not sure if you guys run optimals or not, but like Trey Mann is in 50% of DK optimals right now. And he is projected to score 16, 17 fantasy points, like, which is like, it can be helpful if it gets you everything else, but also that floor is rough on a guy like Trey Mann. I'm just kind of making the point, just kind of overarching point in the slate on DK. It's like, and Joe Ingles, we'll talk about him in a second too. That's not a terribly, you don't feel great about it. Good matchup, obviously, but he's been kind of rough this year too. Ty Jerome is another guy. Like the OKC nonsense. It's just really interesting running optimals today because it's forcing you. It's getting in, LeBron, center only LeBron on DK, which is insane. What a world. I mean, I know he's playing center some games, but seriously, come on. What are we doing over there? You guys are getting too cute on DK. Will, what do you have for as far as Toronto?
I mean, listen, this team, I do feel like they're slightly overpriced on FanDuel, like across the board, like Fred VanVleet's 93, but he's having these massive ceiling games, and then Pascal has been having ceiling games of his own, right? So I don't want to overlook the fact that they're giving us big time production, but when I've got VanVleet and Trent and OG and Scardy and Pascal, I just don't feel as good about these prices. So I don't think I want to get involved. And I know Jimmy Butler's 91 and Freddie VanVleet is 93, but overall, I think Jimmy's going to get there more consistently. And maybe, look, I'm willing to own the fact that I might need to have a mindset change on some of these guys. Like, I tell people that all the time. Sometimes, I have to make a mental adjustment and say, okay, this isn't the same player based on these factors, right? Here's what I do know about Fred VanVleet. He is going to continue to shoot 7, 8, 9, 10 threes a game. And when he's on, the points are going to come. When he's off, he's going to score 14 points. And I feel like that's what's going to hold the ceiling back in a game where he's playing Miami. I feel like this should, on paper, air quotes, should on paper be a little bit tougher matchup. I'm willing to roll the dice and not play anyone from Toronto, maybe outside of Scotty. Like Scotty's 56. That's just too cheap. He should be at least 6K. But a lot of the other guys, even OG, I'm willing to pass on OG. I think he'll have his hands full with Jimmy. And I know the NBA is a fluid league where we switch a lot on defense now. Like I get it. He's not just going to be on Jimmy, but I do feel like he's going to have the task of trying to stick Jimmy a majority of the game. And Jimmy Butler is a guy that gets to the free throw line a ton. And so I'm willing to back off of OG even at 6,300.
Do want to mention, if you guys are in New York, you're in luck. Sports betting is officially launched. BetMGM officially live in New York. Use the promo code Grinders for a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That is not the only book that you can get a deal on. You go to Rotogrinders.com, go to the banners, check out sports betting, pull up New York specifically. BetMGM, $1,000 risk-free bet. FanDuel, $1,000 risk-free bet. DraftKings, $1,000 deposit bonus. Caesars Sportsbook, $300 free, $3,000 match. I am jealous I'm not in New York. I cannot partake, but that kind of stuff does not last forever. They're in customer acquisition mode right now. They want you as a customer. They are doing their best to entice you. Hey, speaking of entice, y'all, if you're on YouTube, what up? Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. And do join us in the Rotogrinders Discord channel that is free for everybody. Rotogrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel. Do say hello. Do partake in the conversation. And Devin is going to be pulling somebody at random today and giving out 1 week free of RG Premium just for participating. Ask a question, whatever question you have pertaining to the slate, whatever's on your mind, and we will do our best to knock out that question later on in the show. Moving on, next game on deck is Phoenix in San Antonio. 227.5 is the total. San Antonio is a 3.5 point favorite as far as who is in and who is out. Phoenix is without DeAndre Ayton. That's where one of our potential value pieces go down. Cam Johnson expected to play. As far as San Antonio, they are pretty healthy. Jakob Poeltl's got that back, but he's available. Otherwise, essentially a full roster on the San Antonio side. Essentially, the Phoenix side is healthy with the absence of DeAndre Ayton. And I guess, TJ, I will start with you. How good or bad is that JaVale McGee chalk?
Depends on the site. On DraftKings, great chalk. On DraftKings, it's great chalk. Wouldn't matter if I was playing one team or 1,000 teams. I'd have McGee on every single one, except for maybe a couple where I would absolutely have Jalen Smith. And in a couple lineups, I don't think it'd be even crazy, since we don't have very much good value tonight, putting in both. Because if you just assume they split the center minutes and go 24-24, and Bamba doesn't get any of them, well, then if that's the case, then they could both have 30 plus points in those 24 minutes, fantasy points, of course. So I think on DK, he's fantastic chalk. On FanDuel, I don't think he's bad. If I'm playing cash games, he's still my center, but there are definitely a lot of other pivots off of him, like we mentioned earlier with Okongwu and my personal favorite, Mo Bamba.
Yeah. And by the way, we currently have 8 minutes projected for Biyombo. And it's kind of fragile. Like you said, like in the past, it was like, well, it's JaVale, but now we've seen Smith, and they have sort of draft equity in Smith. Smith was a lottery pick just last season, and he's definitely shown that he can play. He's had his moments this year. I think he's kind of sort of somewhat interesting. We've seen scenarios where JaVale goes out and gets 2 fouls in the first 3 minutes, and all of a sudden, like that chalk that doesn't necessarily die, but it's wounded, and a guy like Smith can clean up. But now there's Bismack. They signed Bismack to another 10-day. Maybe they sign him the rest of the season. I don't know, but he's a guy that can get some minutes as well. Also worth noting, Phoenix on the third game in 4 night scenario, back-to-back and the road. It's like the triple whammy. It's like those scheduled losses, basically, and where minutes can sometimes be a little fragile as well. Also, when you consider guys like Chris Paul, who's not necessarily young, just kind of note that, I would say. Other pieces on Phoenix outside that center location, is anybody kind of popping out there for you, TJ, or it's just sort of JaVale is obviously the clear best value play. Booker on DK at 8.4K. That's fine. No problems with that. Same deal with Paul. I hate that campaign is popping. That guy, never get him right. Just never. And like, you're begging for 24 points. Like, you're begging for it. What do you have as far as Phoenix?
This is a tough team tonight. If you're in a position like it seems like we are, where we're not playing a ton of lineups, because one or two of these guys are going to do very, very well. I don't know if it's going to be Cam Johnson, who's back tonight, Mikal Bridges, who's 4,500 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
And it's just, he's not a very good fantasy player, but he's a very good real life player. So that just makes that price tag enticing. If I'm playing lots of lineups, I love sprinkling these guys in. Crowder, Johnson, Payne, Bridges, all of these guys on the higher tier. Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they don't have great price tags, but they're both affordable, especially Paul on DK, Devin Booker on FanDuel. None of these guys are great plays outside of McGee, but they're all wonderful sprinkling in tournament plays.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at as well. And again, I think Cam Johnson, I was running not a campaign. I think he was the guy popping in our optimals. I just want to go ahead and confirm that and check. I think he was like basically hitting my max, hitting my cap. No, never mind. What? No, I have to go ahead and recheck that again. Well, something else is maybe I've tinkered with the numbers. We'll check back. No worries on that. And like you said, as far as Bridges, like he's 4 or 5 on FanDuel. He's a good defensive player, so you can kind of get there through stocks. They're going to need him to throw on Murray. He's going to eat some minutes up, but his usage is just horrible. 14% is not appealing. Fantasy points per minute in the season, 0.7 on FanDuel, 0.68 on DK. Will, jump in on here. What are your thoughts as far as the Suns?
Looks like you're trying to get a campaign for campaign.
I don't want it.
Get it? Pun? Anyway, dude. All right. Phoenix, man. They're just I don't hate Devin Booker. I don't hate Chris Paul. I feel like maybe the number one play for me on FanDuel will probably be Mikal Bridges, just because he's got really stable minutes in a game where, they're going to need him to play a little D. They might stick him on DeJounte a time or two, and he is a guy that can get there in terms of peripheral stats as well. So I don't hate Mikal Bridges, but, all in all, I think JaVale McGee is the number one target, especially on DK at 3,700. He's probably the play on that particular site, but I'm not going to be playing a whole lot of Phoenix. Chris Paul is a guy, just doesn't get it done for me anymore. Just doesn't get it done. If Devin Booker was out, Chris Paul would be big time in play.
What about the San Antonio side?
On DK, before we leave Phoenix, on JaVale McGee, obviously, is just incredible. On FanDuel, you play McGee and probably Bridges in cash, as long as McGee's the starter. But personally, in my tournament lineup tonight, I think I'm going to fade both, and I think I'm probably going to have Jalen Smith in it.
Yeah, I love Jalen Smith as a tournament play. I think he's really, really interesting. There's
I wish Jalen Smith could just start again. I mean, the prop shop made so much money on Jalen Smith over first half first half real points. They'd have him at like 6.5, and he'd get like 8. Just man.
Well, he's projected for low ownership on FanDuel, and he's $900 cheaper there than he is for McGee, and he's projected for half the ownership that McGee has. If not, maybe ending up for less. He's power forward eligible, whereas McGee's only center eligible. There's so many avenues for success. McGee foul trouble, McGee injury, McGee playing bad, him playing better than McGee. Blowout on either side of the way. It's going to be, if either team blows the other one out, it's going to be him who gets the run. So yeah, I like Jalen Smith on FanDuel a lot.
We got to pick up the pace, boys. Succinctly, TJ, what do you have as far as the Spurs? Keldon Johnson is popping on both sites. They are fully healthy, but his price is kind of plummeted. Of course, you can play Murray in tournaments as well. Tough matchup there with Bridges, but he, of course, can overcome that. What do you have, Spurs?
Keldon Johnson is one of the safest value plays of the night. Play him in cash games, especially on FanDuel. I haven't seen his price on DK here yet, but yeah, play him in cash games. DeJounte Murray, people look at the price over 10K and get scared. Play him. He's amazing.
Will, you have anything to add there, or shall we move on?
Let's keep it moving.
All right, let's go to let's talk about OKC at Dallas. 210 is the total. Dallas is an 11-point favorite, so any game can blow out, but this one seems more likely than others. Dallas essentially fully healthy. The only guy they have is Reggie Bullock, who's questionable. That doesn't matter so much. Tons of bodies. Porzingis is back as well, and Kenrich Williams is the only guy out for OKC, so they're healthy also. Will, you like anybody on the OKC side?
I know every time you hear this hard, breathe, it's hard for me to get excited about this team. Can SGA have an upside game, from here and there? Yeah, and I know the past 3 games he's gotten there, but I think overall Dallas is a better team. We've got, these guys are at minus 11.5. I think that's real tonight. I don't always buy into such big team total differentials, but I think that's real. So I'm willing to hop off the train here. SGA at 8,400 on FanDuel, just no thank you. And TJ? I'm willing to live with it.
TJ, OKC?
Good to go. Sorry, I forgot. I didn't realize you may not be looking at the video. On to the next. No, there's if I'm playing lots of lineups, keep SGA and Giddey in your pool. If you want to take a shot on Jerome or somebody like that in 150, fine, but no, not for me.
Yeah, if it gets ugly, like I think Man and Jerome are kind of sort of somewhat interesting, and that's what I was looking at. Those guys are like hitting lineups at like 17-point projections just because of the way the slate is constructed. What about Dallas?
And if you're taking a shot on one of them, I like Jerome more than Man. Jerome is one of those guys that can just get 15, 5 and 5 if he ever reaches 20 minutes.
Yeah, Jerome averages 0.86 fantasy points per minute. Man a little bit behind that at 0.75. How about Dallas? Dallas fully healthy. Great matchup, obviously, but more slices to cut this pie up in. Luka should be great. Lou Dort's going to be on him, but again, I'm not frightened about that. We've seen him overcome. What do you have as far as Dallas?
Nothing for me for Dallas. Dorian Finney-Smith might pop in some optimals just because he's very cheap, but no, that's not a play for me. Luka has as high of a ceiling as anybody, but not for me tonight.
DFS landed in 19% of the optimals I ran, and he's just rarely a guy that's going to be like the slate breaker, especially when everybody else is healthy. Will, Dallas?
Yeah, KP being back just screwed this whole situation up. If KP was out tonight, I think I would have had a little bit more interest in DFS just because of the price. And then Luka, I'm really torn on Luka because this is one of those spots where I feel like he could get almost 40 fantasy points in the first half. The problem is he's just not getting it done that way right now. Like we're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of 65 to 70 fantasy point performances from Luka until maybe after the All-Star break. And I'm not trying to be funny here. Like I do think some of these stars that maybe we've been waiting for them to kind of get going after the All-Star break, when they turn it up and condense these rotations a little bit more, right? I think then at that point we might start seeing them dial it up. But until then, I'm off.
We'll let Crunch Time break this down. Norman Powell ruled out there for Toronto, and also your boy.
No, for Portland, you mean?
Yeah, he used to play for Toronto. Yeah, geez. Yeah, the both teams are on the slate. My bad. Correct. Powell is out tonight. And Lopez is starting for Orlando. It's not Bamba for what it's worth, but I don't know if that's an effort to keep his minutes down, but just kind of wanted to note that.
How much time do we have left?
We get like 6-7 minutes, and we got to talk about the questions from chat as well. Why? What's up?
All right, let's because I know we got to talk about this other game. Let's revisit Portland real quick. Quick synopsis here. I like Portland a lot more now with Norman Powell out. In terms of some of these other pieces like an Anthony Simons or a Nasir Little, who's probably going to start now. Now I'm a little bit more interested.
You're paying $8K for Simons on DK with CJ back?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 7,600 on FanDuel. I don't think he'll make my one lineup, but yeah, he's definitely in play. And not Nasir Little. We've been struggling to find mid-tier value especially on FanDuel that doesn't feel icky. I like Little quite a bit as a pivot off of those Keldon Johnson, Mikal Bridges type guys.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in this slate does feel icky for sure. Utah Lakers 230.5 is a total. Lakers are 4-point dogs. Utah on the back half of a back-to-back, and they are traveling. Hassan Whiteside not expected to play. Carmelo is questionable for what it's worth. Yeah, so TJ, we have LeBron at center and center only on DK. His price is really appealing though. Like I think you're going to get a lot of JaVale and LeBron. Like you're going to get a ton of those guys paired together. That is the chalk as far as your center and utility spot. You agree with that? Is that the correct move?
Yeah, I think that's the correct move for cash. Absolutely. If outside of it, I like especially if we get Carmelo Anthony out again tonight, I like Malik Monk just because Chiefs guy, Malik Monk, just because he's got the crazy high ceiling for a guy at that price tag. If he's not hot, yeah, he's going to suck. But if he gets hot, he has 50-point ceiling. So I like Malik Monk, especially if Carmelo Anthony's out. LeBron James at center on DK, probably going to be the chalk build. I have no problem with it at all. On FanDuel, he's small forward, power forward. It all just depends. Who do you like better, Giannis or LeBron? What's making me lean more and more as we go along on this show towards LeBron is just I've made mistakes over the past few weeks, and I'm trying to learn from these mistakes. I'll pick up the pace. I play early guys and then news that we do not see coming comes out later in the night, and I go, okay, I got to learn from my mistakes. If I'm torn between two players, go to the later one.
Always yield the later guy. That's the tiebreaker.
And I keep not sticking to my guns, and I might just do it tonight and go LeBron over Giannis, because if we take it over to this Utah side, they just played last night, and there are a lot of guys who have been out for quite a while. You have Rudy Gobert, who he's not on the injury report, but it's a back-to-back, and he had been out a long time. You got Mike Conley on the injury report as questionable. Joe Ingles will be a much nicer value play in this 3K range if Mike Conley's out. So I like erring on the side of this Utah team with a massively high total on a back-to-back where we could see some news open up, as opposed to some of this earlier stuff.
We saw Gobert play basically his normal minutes, like 35 last night. The only thing is they don't have Whiteside either, so I'm not sure if they would be okay. But against the Lakers, like they're playing LeBron at the 5. You don't necessarily need a Whiteside or a Gobert type build. You don't need to run that out at the 5 when you're matching him against the Lakers. So I'm not sure if how much they care about the game either, which is the other thing. Like you never really know. 82 games. Sometimes you just punt the game here or there.
And some of these guys' prices have started to go back down too. So if you get some surprise guys ruled out, like a couple guys on the wing, all of a sudden Rudy Gay at 4,300 is beautiful. That's a great price tag if they get some guys ruled out. Donovan Mitchell, 8,200 on FanDuel is one of the best mid-range pay up options on the slate.
Will, what do you have as far as this game?
LeBron, more LeBron. Don't hate Malik Monk, of course, at 5,600. I think that's maybe a misprice. He's got a little bit more upside than that. Man, Russ at 8,100 is starting to get interesting. And it feels yucky, but God, he can't keep playing this bad, right? Like at some point, doesn't he have to just at least kind of have 45 fantasy points a night? You get what I'm saying? Like at some point, man, but hey, maybe what we're seeing is real because of the situation. I don't know, but LeBron and more LeBron.
Russ, a guy who thrives at getting to the basket and like as far as getting his points, probably not the spot to break out against Utah and Gobert, but I hear you. His FanDuel price is pretty appealing.
8,100 on FanDuel. That's what I'm talking about.
If he lands in your lineup, that's fine. If you're playing lots of lineups, keep him in your pool. Personally, I like guys like Donovan Mitchell better, but yeah, if he gets there, fine. That's fine. He's so cheap. He's got the ceiling.
Some questions from chat. TJ, thoughts as far as Dwight Howard on DK for tournaments?
Dwight Howard on DK for tournaments. What's his price?
Do we think he starts or they start LeBron against Gobert?
You know what? That's not a crazy play. That's not a crazy play. It's if I'm playing one lineup, not something I do. But if either you're trying to find a crazy pivot off of McGee or you want to be playing Giannis and some other pay ups outside of LeBron, maybe you want to get Jimmy Butler and Donovan Mitchell and Giannis in a lineup. And so you need a lot of cheapies. Yeah, I don't mind going a Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee lineup because he might have to play extra minutes against Gobert.
Will Flores Mark wants to know your thoughts as far as the McGee chalk. We kind of talked about it, but if you can just summarize it.
Yeah, DK, much better option. FanDuel, probably just a cash option.
TJ, GPP thoughts as far as Jalen Suggs. Is Jalen Suggs somebody in your pool? And also there's a chance.
No, he's not in my pool yet. No, he was his first game back last game and he came off of the bench. We're currently projecting him still to come off of the bench. So no, not for me.
Another Jalen, TJ, Jalen Smith. Why is he not grading out well? We kind of talked about that, but feel free to cover that.
They currently don't have him as the starter, and I think we're currently projecting McGee to go back into his normal McGee starting role, like we had seen in the past with Ayton out. But the difference now is Jalen Smith came in after McGee was out last time, and he played very, very well. And McGee is one of the most volatile players in the entire NBA. And so Jalen Smith's not going to have a good median projection because we're probably only going to project him for something like 18 minutes or something like that. But if he finds one of the many open pathways for McGee failing, he could absolutely smash his FanDuel price tag.
Will, thoughts on Precious Achiuwa, 3.9K for tournaments on DK?
I don't like it better than McGee.
I don't know if we have time to answer this question, which is probably a long answer. TJ, take a shot at it. If you can do it in 30 seconds. Can you tell me how you figure out if a player is overpriced or underpriced?
Go to Rotogrinders.com, get a premium subscription, check their price. And if they're if their ownership is higher than the percentage of the time that you think they're going to succeed, don't play them.
Final thoughts. Oh, Arizona plays the Rams tonight. You guys got any takes in the football?
Oh, Rams.
I think Rams are probably going to win, but one of my good buddies is a Cardinals fan, so go Cards go. If you're watching this game, check out the halftime, because the Moon Knight trailer, Marvel's Moon Knight, is premiering at halftime of the game. It's going to be a dark show. It's going to be wild. Lots of violence. It's great.
You got to get your Marvel plug in there. There you go.
Agents of Fandom. Check it out. Apple, Spotify.
Myself and Grant and producer Devin will be live watching the game. We'll be watching the Rams and the Cardinals. And hey, if you have any more just DFS questions, just nonsense questions, we're here for 3 hours to watch the game with y'all. We'll be live betting, telling you guys.
So we have the show today.
Yeah.
Is this the last one?
Yeah. Are you going to join us? That's what I was asking you about a pre-show.
No, I know. This is the last one.
Are you going to show up and hang out with us? Hang with the people.
Listen, hang in there. I might make a semi-guest appearance for real.
What is a semi? We don't have time to dig into it. We got to step aside. And
hey, last showdown slate I took down the ship, so I might have to come by and say hello to see how my teams are doing.
Hey, you're welcome to join us too. I don't mean to feel free to hang out with us, myself and Grant and Devin. We talk all sorts of nonsense. We hang out, we chat, we watch the game. And maybe Will make a semi appearance. I don't know what that is. Either you're in or you're not. Either you're here or you're with us. We gotta go. We gotta step away, make way for crunch time. Do appreciate y'all watching us on the old YouTube, wherever y'all watching us. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on the notifications. If you guys are premium members, go to Rotogrinders.com. Crunch time is starting in about 10 minutes or so. They're gonna help you guys out with FanDuel and DraftKings. That was Devin. That was producer Devin. That was Will. That was TJ. That was basketball. I was Dean. We're out of here. Holler.
My other friend is